Welcome to this edition of the Bayer monthly crop report. We're about to go over the numbers that just came out from the USDA for production and also for the supply and demand. We'll look at where the markets were just before these numbers came out also to see the reaction. Let's start off with corn. The corn U.S. ending stocks number came out at 1.837. The average guess was 1.809 billion bushels. So that is the corn number for U.S. stocks. Let's go to soybeans now. The actual number was 450 million bushels. The average estimate among analysts was 444 million bushels. Looking at wheat in the U.S., 966 million bushels was the number that just came out. The average guess among analysts was a little lower, 946 million bushels. Those are the U.S. numbers. Looking at world ending stocks for grains, the corn number was very close to the guess. In millions of metric tons, it was 208.8 was the corn number. The average guess was 208 even. Looking at soybeans, the number came out at 80.4 million metric tons. The average guess was 79.1. So the world stocks was a little higher in the soybeans. Wheat, the number came out at 238.9 million metric tons for total world ending stocks for wheat. That is higher. The average guess was 231.9 million metric tons. Let me say that again to make sure. The number itself, 238.9, was the number in wheat. So that is correct. Let's look at world production. We'll go to corn in Brazil. It was 84 million metric tons. They thought that would be 81.6 for production, world production. That's higher in Brazil for corn. We'll go ahead and look at Argentina. That number came out at 27 million metric tons. They thought the number would be 25.3. That also is higher than expectations. Soybeans in Brazil, the number came out at 100 million metric tons. The average guess was 81.6. I'm sorry, the average guess was 99.2. And the Argentina soybean number came out at 58.5 million metric tons. The average guess was 57.1. So most of these numbers appear to be negative. Let's look at the reaction. The soybean market just before this number came out, March soybeans were down 1.5 pennies, and November soybeans were down 1 penny. Right now, March soybeans are unchanged, and November soybeans are up 0.5 cent. So the market has reacted in a slightly positive way. Looking at corn reaction, the corn market, both in March corn and December corn, were both down at 1 cent just before this report. And right now, we have those markets close to the same, a little lower. March corn is down 1.25 pennies, and December corn is down 1.25 pennies. So slightly lower there. The wheat number, the wheat reaction, wheat in March was down just before the report, was down 0.75 cents. July wheat was down 1.25 pennies. Right now, March wheat is down 1.5 pennies, and July wheat's down 2.25. So July wheat has weakened a small amount. Let's go now to cotton. Cotton numbers that have come out, I'll just go straight to the USDA page here for supply and demand. It says a 5% reduction in exports is raising the projected 2015-16 U.S. cotton ending stocks this month. The production and domestic mill use forecasts are unchanged. Exports are reduced 500,000 bales to 9.5, reflecting continued sluggish export sales attributable mainly to sharply lower imports by China relative to last season. Ending stocks are now projected at 3.6 million bales, or 27.5% of total use. The forecast range for the marketing year average price received by producers of 58 to 61 cents per pound is raised 1 cent on the lower end, with the midpoint now forecast at 59.5. The world numbers, let's look at that, for 2015-16 for cotton forecast include lower expectations of consumption and trade relative to last month. Consumption and imports are reduced for China based on continued sluggish demand, and for Pakistan, where a slower pace of imports indicates reduced demand. World consumption is lowered 1.3 million bales, which also includes reductions for India and Brazil. With global imports nearly 1 million bales below last month, exports are reduced for Brazil, India, and Pakistan in addition to the United States. Global stocks are now forecast at just over 104 million bales. So that's it. What's the reaction? A negative reaction in cotton. We had been lower earlier in cotton. Market firmed up toward unchanged or slightly lower. Just before the report, March cotton was up 2, and right now March cotton's down 36. May cotton, just before the report, was down 25. Right now May cotton is down 65. And we are at the moment, May cotton has gotten 10 points lower than this. March cotton at one point was about 30 points lower than this. So that's it. That's the numbers that we see and the reaction. Thanks for being with us for the Bayer Monthly Crop Report Review, Supply and Demand Review, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.